Hello, Oldbridge, and welcome to another episode of Council Corner. We're very excited about the new year and the plans for this program.
I'm so glad you can join us, and especially because we have a special guest here today, Phyllis Jones, New Jersey Ambassador from the Military Women's Memorial. And I want to thank you for joining us and thank you for your service.
Thank you for inviting me. It's truly an honor.
Tell us a little bit about the Women's Memorial.
Okay,
a lot of people are interested. They really are.
The Women's Memorial is, some people think it's hard to find, but it's at the gateway to Arlington Cemetery. And they have this big wall that they converted and built upon. And it's, you go in there, we have from Molly Pitcher, no matter who served, when they served. You type up a little thing, and that's one of the ambassador's duties, to try to get veterans, past, present, or in the future, if you're in there now, or if they're deceased, if your family member's deceased. You fill out a form. You can even go online to the Military Women's Memorial, and you fill out this form. It's free. And when you go there, you can type in your name, and it comes up on a screen, and you can see what your story is. Because women, our stories are never told, and they will die with us.
Right.
You want to pass that.
Yes,
you
have
to.
forward.
That's
Exactly.
important, and I think it's so amazing. The roles have changed naturally over the years,
yes.
as far as women veterans and their
Yes.
roles, but they
Yeah.
do have those stories that are really special.
Well, actually, I was looking at, reading about it, and I don't think that some people pause and don't think of how women were involved. Actually, from the Revolutionary War, over 3 million women. The roles are different, but they're so essential to make everything work together and to function so, magnificently, during military times. And so there's over 3 million women, and I think it's very important to see how important women were in the military, whether on every level. And I think it's wonderful.
Tell us about yourself and your military experience.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. And I went into the service directly after high school. My parents couldn't afford college, and that's a big thing even now, again. And I didn't want to sit behind a desk for 8 hours. So I saw a commercial on TV, and I said, I can travel. I love to travel. So I went in. I didn't want to go in the Navy because I don't like water and swimming.
And that's out
So,
there.
yeah, that was out. So I went in. I asked for the Air Force. And when I told my mom I joined the Air Force, she laughed. She said, well, you'll never get in. You had a heart murmur when you were a baby from rheumatic fever. And I said, okay. Well, I passed the physical. No murmur, was gone. And 6 weeks later, I was in Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, in basic training. And they do tear you down to build you back up of what you should be.
You were so young.
Yes.
Right out of high school.
I got to give you a lot of credit, truly.
That's young.
Well, a lot of all the boys were out of my graduating class. They were all drafted because of Vietnam.
Right.
And then I was stationed at Travis Air Force Base, and I was put in the 60th Aerial Port Squadron, which helps land the planes and load the planes off and give the guys, make sure they had their shot records, their meals, and everything. And would go out there and help land the planes and stuff. Now it's another life.
It's so interesting, just from a commercial, how that can change your life and that you're exposed to things. I think it's wonderful that people don't realize what one incident can open the door for so many things and expose you to things that you would never imagine doing. Phyllis, please tell us about your rank and everything that's involved with that.
Okay, after basic, when in basic, you're considered basic, nothing. Then you get your first stripe after 6 weeks if you pass all the courses and go to your permanent base. And then you have to go back to college, or not to college, but they give you certain parameters that you have to meet and you have to study for. And I became a airman second class. And that's what I got out as because I got married. But I really wanted to stay in longer, but it wasn't to be. Now they've changed the rank. And what my rank would have been, it would now be considered an airman first class. So that's what they do. I mean, they've changed it. They've realized, because I had college through them, some college through them. So, and that you have to keep striving for another stripe and another stripe. It depends on what you do.
And what base were you at?
Travis, California. Yeah, we had MAC planes, which is the Military Airlift Command, on one side, and the other side was a SAC base, the Strategic Air Command. And you see those coming. They took off every 20, 30 seconds, constantly, morning, noon, and night. And we had planes leaving, I'd say every half hour.
Wow.
And 99% of them went on the way to Vietnam from Travis. It was like being a stewardess. We would load the planes. I wrote them all their names down and their ranks, and we loaded them up on the planes, and then I would give them their boxed lunches to go because they had different stops to make. And then I would do it landing the planes. I spent 1 week in the control tower where they taught us how to land these planes. And I wouldn't try it now, but I mean, I could land a plane. I could be a control tower. I still got a license, I think, somewhere. But it's something that you learn these things. They teach you these things. And it was a very interesting time. And then you did boring things like, you had to load the baggage sometimes. So
you were an integral part to make it all work. Everyone has to work together.
Everybody is.
Yeah, they had a role.
Everybody had a role. I mean, we couldn't do that if the communications didn't work. We couldn't do that if the mechanics didn't fix the planes. Everybody had a role. And if you didn't do your job, you were gone. They don't put up with it.
So important. I mean, lives are resting on
this. Well, this is it.
It wasn't something that could be done just helter-skelter. It was important.
It was serious work.
Yes.
It had to be orchestrated just so.
Yes, it was. Very on time, every time. So it was good.
It's interesting. It truly is. People don't think of it on that level, how everything plays together.
Yeah, you have to keep going. And my mother came to visit us during Christmas, and she says, "When do you get off?" And I says, "Ma, we work 12 on, 12 off. You tell me when I can see you. I got to sleep in that time." So you had to make time in between all this.
You learned how to cope.
Yes, you
and
learned.
Organize your time. And those are all skills, though, that you bring with you then into the future.
Oh, yes.
So when you leave, you have a lot of newfound skill.
Absolutely. And it sticks with you forever.
Time management.
Time management.
It does. It sounds that way.
Yes, it's really, truly amazing. And then I got married. In those days, if you got married, you had to get out.
Oh, really?
They didn't want you to have children.
How different, right.
That was a barrier that we had.
Yeah.
And so I returned to Cleveland, and I worked for local airlines and trucking companies. And my husband then passed away. And we had a daughter. And now I've been married for 38 years.
Oh, nice.
And it's, been wonderful. We've moved around because our daughter got married. We moved to Toms River in 2002, right after 9/11. And from there, we moved to Freehold, And we had a mother-daughter for 10 years. And we stayed to help raise the kids because they both worked in the city. And so my husband and I, we just took care of the kids, got them to school, and, you know, loving grandkids, two wonderful boys. And one's out of college now, and one's first year in Duquesne University in pre-med. And now we're in Manalapan.
Very nice.
So,
Wonderful.
Yeah, so they're doing all their great things. Yes.
Well, you pass things on. You could tell you're very vivacious and very involved and active, and it's very important.
Well, you know, you have to stay busy no matter how old you get.
That's an
very
amazing
interesting
story. It really is how you, especially how you got started, your decision to go into the military, you know, through that watching a commercial.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, people, amazing, absolutely amazing.
You know, a lot of people think the military is just you're going to war, but you're learning so much, so many skills, so many life lessons and everything. I think it's really very important.
Yes, basic training. They have you in tests. And my one roommate that I was really, really close with, she went into communications. After all these tests that they give you, they tell you, they put you where our strong suits are.
Right, what's
She went into communications. I had another one that went to someplace she was good at fixing trucks and stuff, so she went into that area.
Mechanical.
And they put me, I was good at doing organizations with passengers and stuff, so that's where I got into transportation.
Well, this is what they do. Like you said, though, they train you, they find your strengths, and they you know, play to your strengths so that you can become the best person possible. So it's a very, you know, a very big lifelong experience.
It was a very good, I can't even think of it right now because I'll cry, but in July of 1966, we sent, just my unit, sent 100,000 men to Vietnam.
Wow. Takes your breath away.
We got the Presidential Citation for efficiency and movement of the troops to South Vietnam. And I'm very, very proud that we did that. And one of the cathartic things that got me was just this past year, after Veterans Day, we were outside of Applebee's, and a group of men were talking, and I said, well, I'm a veteran, and we started to talk. And he says, you sent me over.
Oh my goodness.
And he remembered when I told him Travis and stuff, I hugged him and I said, thank you. Someone I sent came back.
Wonderful.
You know, and that was very cathartic for me because I know a lot of the guys I sent over stayed.
It's sad. It's such a difficult thing. It really is.
But now I'm in other veterans things. I'm in the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 12, the Manalapan Advisory for Veterans Committee. I'm on the committee for the Manalapan Veterans and the Republican Committee for District 28 in Manalapan. And so we stay busy.
Yes, you're very involved.
The time that you spend doing all of this, volunteering for all of this, that's a lot of time. I mean, there's people don't realize, you know, how much is involved in all this.
It does.
I mean, it's such worthy causes, but it's a lot. It's a lot of, you know, a lot of work.
Well, it's good to volunteer and get out, and especially at
for veterans.
Our times.
Have you ever been back to Travis?
Yes. In the 80s, I drove out west with my then husband and went past the base and wanted to go in. And I said, no, I want the memory to stay. I just didn't want to go back. And because some of it was bad, some of it was good. And I want to remember
that's life,
good.
right?
That's life. That's life. But it's, you know, something now, if I was 18, I'd be at the recruiter's office signing my name to go back because I know what to look for. I know what I want. and nobody's going to stop me.
Well, what you did was essential also.
yes,
they needed people
yes.
to do the jobs that women did back then. And, you know, you made a difference.
I hope I did. And like I said, that story, when I saw somebody that I don't remember, but he remembered the girls at Travis.
That's
And
beautiful.
that was very cathartic. It really, really was. It helps close that type of chat. Yeah, because so many of them didn't come back.
You're watching Old Bridge Township's Council Corner
with special guest Phyllis A. Jones.
We'll be back in a moment.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Thank you for calling the National Problem Gambling Helpline. How can I help?
So glad you can make it.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We're back with Council Corner.
And here today we are with our special guest, Phyllis A. Jones. This is so, I really think this memorial is something that more people should know about and participate in, have their loved ones, as you said. If they have someone, please register them.
Yes, and we have on our website for the Women's Memorial, all listed, every state. And the bottom 3 states, I'm sad to say, is New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
We only have 112 women registered in the entire
I'm sure
state.
There's many more than that.
Every time I say something to somebody, they say, well, I didn't know it was there. I didn't know about this. And I'm saying, I'm passing out all this literature.
Right.
Go online. There's a QR code that they have. It doesn't cost anything. You don't even have to mail it in. But we only have 112. Even Alaska has over 2,000 registered.
Wow. Goodness.
And it's amazing. You know, South Carolina has got, she's in the 400s already. And we've been there since 1997. And I'm a charter member since then. And we're trying to get the word out, to get your story told. And that's when they're starting this new program called Her Story. The H is for honor. The E is to educate and empower. And the R is to remember. We need to remember our stories because we made a difference. We want to hear your story. Some of us did nothing but answer a telephone. Some of us may have done paperwork, but it's still your story. whatever you did, whatever you tried to do, it's your story. We need to hear from you. We want you to come to us, to call us, to text us, to email us, to go online to the Military Women's Memorial and just tell us how you felt after you said that oath and what happened to you. What did you do during your stay in the service?
Once again, can you tell us where women can go to sign up to tell their story, military women?
Yes, they can go to www.womensmemorial.org.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, I know a few women who served. I'll make sure that they,
Great.
you know, if they didn't register already, that they'll make sure that they
Yes,
do. And they're
grab
from
them
New
by
Jersey.
Yeah. And how did you get involved with this organization?
In 1995, I was in Ohio, and there was an article in the newspaper. Remember newspapers? You used to get
loved
them in the evening.
Miss them. I miss them.
But you liked it.
Yeah. And there was an article that they broke ground for a military women's memorial in Washington, D.C. I looked at it, you know, and cut it out. About a year or so later, they were asking in another article, if you were a veteran, if you served, sign up.
Right.
So I did, and I became a charter member because I was one of the first 1,000 that joined, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started, way back then.
That's all it takes is people to get involved.
And the first thing I did was every obituary that mentioned a woman that served, I would cut it out and send it to them so they could send it in and talk to the family to get her story in.
Mm-hmm. So it started in Ohio with Mary Rose Oker. Then President Reagan signed it into law in 1986, I think it was.
Yeah,
and then they started, you know, with the architecture and the grounds.
Yeah.
So since 1997, I think it was.
Yes, yeah,
So-
and it was a female and a male that decided how the memorial would be built. So there's a female involved in the building of it too.
So I know down in Monmouth County there was Fort Monmouth. There's also, you know, other bases in the state. Do you reach out to them to see if they can help?
I can't go.
Well,
I mean,
even
I
a
can go
Fort
to the
Monmouth.
commissary. I can go to the PX. But unless somebody approaches me, or I can say to one person in uniform on the base, I need permission from the base to do that. And I do have some feelers out. I've met the commandant of McGuire, and I haven't heard back yet, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah,
It's
they had
just a
closed
matter-
Fort Monmouth, but
Yeah.
there are other bases, so I
yeah.
thought that would be a good venue
Right.
to reach out
Right,
to.
and I'm going to be going to talk to a few other places, and I'm also going to the Brigadier General Doyle Cemetery and go scroll through those records for women who've passed and their records aren't being told yet. So there's a lot of venues, but for some reason New Jersey hasn't gotten into the forefront of it yet, and we really need
Well, I hope
to
that
get our
changes.
stuff.
I hope
so
it
too.
changes.
Well, hopefully, maybe some, you know, through some of the legislators too, as well.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
maybe have a push that way to try to bring it back to their hometown, so to speak.
Yes,
You
I'm
know,
going to
and
be
try to talk it up as well.
I'm going to be talking to Senator Owen Henry, and he's been a doll. I see him on different occasions, and he is going to help me get the word out
Spearhead this,
for in the legislation. So
Yes,
we're
he'll
going
be
to
very
do that
active with
too.
that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that would be a very good venue.
Great.
So since you've been involved, when did you start to be involved with it in New Jersey? Have you been, you know, see numbers going up? Or
Yes, well, I get to the websites, and then when I saw that we only had 112, and I called and I asked for some pamphlets. I said, every place I go, I could be handing out some pamphlets. And then one of the ladies that I talked to down there, one of the directors, says, let me put you in touch with Jan Edmonds, our ambassador coordinator. And with that, she called me, and after a few phone calls, she says, how would you like to be an ambassador for New Jersey? And I says, as long as I can do what I've been doing, but on a more professional level, that would be great. I says, sign me up. Perfect. So that's it. Here I am.
There you are. Well, this is the catalyst for us.
Yes.
And we'll reach out to people that we know that served also. And it's just wonderful. I know it's over the bridge, or the entrance to the Arlington Cemetery.
Yes.
With the architect, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It is. Well deserved.
Yeah. And you just go around the ellipse and go around it, and you can walk right in, and they take donations. If you want to give a donation, there's a gift shop. You can buy things. They have all kinds of memorials. And window dressing type things where you can go. Every service branch is categorized and shown, and it's just wonderful what they've done. They've collected hundreds of thousands of artifacts from families and stuff that they can show, but they can't show them or can't tell you about them if your name's not there.
Right.
So that's the ones that are tough. And there is one other thing I'd like to mention. On Netflix is a movie called The 6888. I encourage everybody to watch it. What it is the 6888 in the military. The 888 is 888. It's a squadron, and it was mostly of African American squadron, what they had to go through. And they went overseas. They were given to sort mail.
Oh, yes. I watched that.
Did you?
Incredible what they did.
Tyler Perry directed it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why a film like that doesn't make it in the cinema, because it was a superb movie.
Yeah, that one was phenomenal with the mailroom and everything.
Yes.
How people got in contact with their sons that were over there, that they thought there was no communication.
And they had these
delivering the mail.
Huge hangars full of mail, and they gave them 6 months to do it.
They did it.
And they did it in 3.
Right. Yep.
And no one said that they would do it. It was so wrong, but they did it. And I mean, at the end of the movie, I wanted to stand up.
Well, they proved
and
themselves.
cheer. Yeah.
They proved themselves for
They
sure.
certainly did.
Yeah.
And there's another one, I'm not sure if it's on Amazon or something, but it's called Hello Girls, all about World War I and the girls that went overseas to make long-distance phone calls. And there are some great women movies out there, and I think that needs to be told also. So that's something else that we can
how you preserve.
That's how you
all of
preserve the stories.
Well, it's so nice from being a teenager, seeing a commercial, to becoming a New Jersey ambassador now.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
wonderful
thank
journey.
you. I'm really pleased to be that, and I hope I do it well.
Oh,
So now
I have
they
no
can-
doubt.
Oh, absolutely. They can reach out to you, correct?
Yes, they can reach out to me at pbjones88@yahoo.com or pbjones88@icloud.com.
And then you're meeting with Senator Henry, and I'm
Yes.
sure he'll be, very
Yes.
informative on how to get the word out too.
Yes. And I'm also meeting with the American Association for University Women at St. Peter's in Freehold to speak about the barriers. I have a person coming with me. She's a Marine, and she will be talking about the barriers that she had to face because of being a Marine. And that's what I've been talking about, the barriers that women have broken.
Like you said, if you had children or if you got married, then you had to leave.
get
So
out.
that's so changed. I mean,
Exactly.
it's so different.
Well, now you can be pregnant and in uniform, so that's a different.
Long
And
way.
now we had that all-female crew up in space. So we've done a lot since Molly Pitcher and I've been in.
It's amazing. It's good to remember, like you said, and never forget.
No, you can never forget.
You should never forget all the sacrifice that people have made to make this country.
Certainly.
I have heard from one person tell me, ladies, it's not a glass ceiling. It's a cellophane ceiling, and you can just go right through it.
It's true.
Very good.
So you can just keep on going.
Sky's the limit.
That's it. What is it now? The moon and Mars.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Just set a goal and go for it.
There you go.
Exactly. Lady power.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you both for having me.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of Council Corner.
With special guest Phyllis Jones, Ambassador of New Jersey for the Women's Military Memorial.
Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciated having you as a guest.
Well, thank you both for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. So interesting, so informative.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and please look forward to future episodes of Council Corner.